Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, our esteemed guests and all the attendees who have joined us on various platforms. I welcome you all on the second session of World Hospitality Expo 2022 Day 3. And our today's session would be on upcoming trends in food industry, which is delivered by Egremontz. And the speakers for our today's session are Chef Aditya Jaimini and Mr. Manish Kumar. Chef Aditya Jaimini is the president of hospitality and product development at Egremontz Business Solution and head of hospitality at Delhi International Airport GMR. He is recognized and celebrated chef and hospitality consultant. He has over 25 years of experience in hospitality industry. Mr. Manish Kumar is the head of project engineering with Egremontz. He has a vast experience with leading food organizations. He has delivered close to 100 projects running successfully all over India and globally. His expertise ranges from designing food outlets, factories, kitchens to successful execution of operations. We are expecting a very insightful and knowledge throwing session from you both. Over to you, our speakers.
Thank you, Aman.
Thank you, Amanji. So, taking the lead, as Aman has introduced us, so I would like to say that the session today is focused on food industry. So I have been a chef, and Mr. Manish, who has joined me, has been working with very many food outlets and new projects. So I would like to share some thoughts about the upcoming trends which are going to be there in the things like food manufacturing, food industry, as well as hospitality, because it's a hospitality expo. So first of all, I would like to thank Aajjo.com and the organizers of World Hospitality Expo to give us this opportunity. Egremontz Business Solutions is a hospitality and project consultancy services we provide, as well as we provide work on designing of kitchens, tax advisories, business assurance. So today our focus will be what are the new trends which are coming in the industry. So I would like to present my screen here, and I will share a small presentation which I have prepared for today's session. So to start with the upcoming trends in the food industry, primarily I will be focusing on trends. Although I have been a chef and associated with hotels like Taj, and I have worked with Radisson, IHG and all, I have different restaurants, delivery kitchens. And as a company, Egremontz has done many outlets as well as food manufacturing businesses. So I would like to bifurcate and tell you about our insights about the food manufacturing business. And secondly, about hotels, restaurant, delivery kitchens, because both the points are to be considered, because as people who are participating in this session or observing us on YouTube, you will be noticing that there is a trend which is going to shape up after the post corona period. Post COVID, there will be many trends which are going to affect us. There are some trends which are going to continue. So presently, I would like to start with the food manufacturing business. So food manufacturing business, the first and the foremost thing which I will explain in my next slide also is food transparency. That is, people would like to know how the food is being prepared and what is the effect on the environment. Secondly, the next trend which is going to come up is the plant-based products. There is a growing demand for plant-based products. There are many manufacturing businesses, new startups which are coming up. Not only vegetarian focused, but also vegan focused products, keto diet. And there are some cuisines which are getting popular because of that, Indian cuisine being one of them, Korean cuisine. There are many cuisines which are getting focused because of plant-based products, as well as availability of many products has been started due to the trend. Thirdly, about the immunity boosting foods, the new trend will be that focus will be how to highlight the immunity boosting aspect of all the food that is being manufactured. Commercial manufacturing units are focusing on highlighting how their food is going to affect the immunity of a person who is consuming the food. Even if you see the Indian market, You see the growth of leading brands like Dabur and Patanjali, the FMCG market. Their products are now focused on how the immunity is being boosted. So there will be a trend on that. Then there will be a common trend in all the food manufacturing business, that will be the automation. And automation is something which is the future for the industry, because standardization of processes and product results from automation. Last is, a lot of advancement is happening because of the packaging, and the reason behind that is to optimize the shelf life. So shelf life is a key concern for many of the food manufacturing businesses, how to retain the freshness as well as give a long shelf life. Food transparency, as I explained, as I said in the previous slide also, that for the consumer, transparency means simply knowing how the product was made. So a food brand which will be able to provide its customers with the information or products ingredient, from where it is sourced. People are writing very clearly on their labelings and all the source of the ingredients, like natural Himalayan produce or organic produce, and the production process, like there is no heat used, the natural ingredients retain their nutritional value, and such information is going to be the trend in future. A new term which I have encountered just few days back is how we can sustain and how upcycled and sustainable ingredients are utilized. So consumers want to know where their food is coming from and the impact on the environment. Everybody is now concerned about the impact on the environment. Now coming to the food beverage trends, hotels, restaurant, delivery kitchens, I have laid out a few of them which I feel are the most important ones. First and foremost will be the experiential dining. That is impactful USPs. That is, how are you going to make an impact on the diner's mind when he's coming to your food outlet? It can be small things which affect. It can be some act which involves interaction by the guest who is dining in your restaurant. It can be something like you are engaging the guest. Like I would like to share a very simple example. It's a marketing gimmick that someone had done. I will not name the organization, but in one of the cities in Punjab, they have introduced a very nice concept. They say you come and make your own jalebis in our outlet, and how much you make, that is all yours. So impactful experiential dining. So I'm not just focusing on the trends that are happening at the restaurant kitchens, but also on the table. How the guest is impacted in the restaurant on the table. Maybe it is live cooking. Secondly, immunity boosting foods. Here also people will be very conscious in coming years about how much and what they are eating. And a lot of focus will be there that people are focusing on their immunity. Not to take away what is a given is the hygiene standards, which will definitely be required as a part of wherever a diner is going. Another concept which might catch up in coming years is the meal kits. Meal kits are like you can get some pre-prepared, measured, standard recipes, and you can make the food at your own place. Global flavors and new cuisines. This will be an interesting topic to talk about, because as a chef, I feel that trends keep on changing. In past 10 years, a lot of change has happened in what is being offered to the diners in different parts of the world. So global flavors, the barriers between the cuisines are eroding. The new concept is that you are able to taste a lot of flavors, a lot of amalgamation. I'm not very much taking the term fusion here, but I would say mixing of flavors and textures. New cuisines will be cropping up. Indian cuisine definitely is making a mark globally, but there are many diets which are taking the food and beverage industry by storm, like the Mediterranean diet or the keto diet. So people will be looking out for new offerings, global flavors, and different types of flavors which are combinations of flavors. Return to the traditional and comfort food. Wherever we go into the world, an Indian would prefer that at the end of the day, if he gets his comfort food, maybe a simple butter chicken with naan, or maybe a dal makhni, or if you are thinking about a dosa. So something which is comfort food. I would just elaborate upon comfort food. Actually, comfort food is a very simple word, but many people might not be aware. Comfort food is not the food which is comfortable to eat, or because many people have that notion. Comfort food is the food which gives you satiety, which gives you the happiness that you have by eating the food which you are used to eating. Like for an Indian person, it could be a simple bread, a dal or a paratha with a nice uh, pickle on the side. So traditional food will rise. And maybe I'll touch upon this part in the later half of the PPT, that the traditional, in the sense that traditional food preparations, whether it is sweets or whether it is the traditional ways of preparing food, that will return. As I mentioned, packaging will definitely make an impact. For the food and beverage restaurants and delivery kitchens, it will have a very high impact, because packaging is something which makes the person interested to have an opinion about how the food is going to be. So it is very important that packaging will be a lot of focus. Last but not the least, ghost kitchens. As you have seen in the past 2 years, how the new concept of cloud kitchens has taken the whole Indian subcontinent by storm. And it is globally also that people want to try out food at the comfort of their home. So kitchens which will be able to deliver a lot of variety and all at the comfort of the home. So diner wants to just remain at home and have their meals. Create a element of wow. This is something which I am focusing on, how the trend is going to be. This is my presumption that, and seeing the industry for around 25 years, that how are diners going to be excited when they come to a restaurant. It can be a casual dining restaurant, it can be a QSR, it can be a food court. So interactive serving style. Slowly and slowly, people want that their server or the chef should be interacting more with them, giving them the idea about the food and as well as explaining the food and showing some last minute interaction through some preparation, addition of an ingredient or a small element of surprise. Simple presentation of food. So presentation, it should be elegant. This is my advice to the chefs who are right now in the industry, or budding chefs also, that simple presentation of food, not many ingredients. It should not be time consuming. Small portions so that people can have more variety of food. So these are the trends which are going to be focused. And if these things are focused, people will be more interested to come to your restaurants. Now coming up to some global influencers. Global influencers in the sense that these are going to be the key. So I'm touching upon some, not many, 4 major things which are going to influence the way people are going to be affected in the food industry. Considering it from the point of view of the consumers. People will definitely want healthier ingredients, as I have mentioned earlier, immunity boosting foods, plant-based foods, and growth of Indian sweets on global platform. This is something which is going to be a trend, and this is the start of how Indian sweets are going to make a mark on the global footprint. The reason is, although Indian cuisine is very much known, but as you know, and I'll share in the PPT also, the confectionery market is growing in spite of whatever we say. The people reduce the amount of sweets they are eating. Diabetes is a problem, but still, if you see the figures, sweets are in demand. So I foresee that Indian sweets are going to make a lot of growth in global scenario. So healthy ingredients, definitely immunity boosters, Ayurvedic influence on the food. With the advent of so many immunity related presentations happening, the advertising going the way, the immunity boosting ingredients being highlighted. So Ayurveda has its own influence. If I share with you an example, turmeric latte is a rage in London and New York. So what is a turmeric latte? Is haldi doodh, which we already had in our systems. So Indian Ayurvedic influence on healthy ingredients is going to be a coming up trend. Fresh ingredients, as well as minimalistic cooking. From minimalistic cooking, I would like to share that not cooking too much, retaining the freshness of the ingredients, and making sure that all the nutrients are preserved in the food preparation. A conscious shift from non-vegetarian food to vegetarian diet is a rage in European countries, and definitely in India we are a vegetarian country primarily. So there is a conscious shift towards vegetarian diet. So these are the few pointers. Secondly, as I was mentioning about the global demand for Indian sweets, here I would like to share my own experience about the Indian sweets. Uh, in spite of, I would like to elaborate the fad that is associated. This is going to be a trend because there's a lot of things happening, and as a chef, I have seen this change happening in past 10-15 years, how the Indian sweets have been evolving, how brands are showing and showcasing Indian sweets in new avatar, and use of different ingredients which are coming up. Just to share with you how I was sharing about the mixing of ingredients, how star ingredients are utilized to make the Indian sweets look different. So as an organization at Egremontz, we have delivered some projects which are not only focused on Indian sweets, but also the trends which are going up in the Indian sweets. So if I share with you some statistics, sweets market, global as well as Indian, the global confectionery market size is over US dollar 200 billion. And traditional Indian sweet market is set to be around 45,000 crores, of which packaged market is set to be around 3,500 crores. So there's a lot of scope in this scenario. Chocolate and sugar confectionery is around 11,000 crores. So this is some data. Traditional sweets industry dominates Indian scenario. And in the past 2-3 years, I've seen how new players are coming into the Indian sweets scenario. And not only sweets, but the food industry is focused on the traditional street food and how people are coming up with new concepts. So this is definitely going to make a mark in the food industry. These figures are fairly larger also because, as you know, in India, the sector is not very much organized. But if I share with you, by virtue of sharing ideas with global clients, I've had people who want to set up Indian street food and sweets in outlets outside India, because Indian sweet as well as Indian street food is having a lot of demand because of the healthier versions which are coming up. So particularly for Indian sweets, there is an export potential. If I share with you, it was 750 crores in 2019. The reason is a large number of Indian diaspora outside India, and which is patronizing Indian food. US, Australia, Canada, these are the major countries. Um, we have been uh, instrumental in sharing our expertise with many clients of ours who have now exporting Indian sweets to countries like US, Australia, and we specialize in frozen foods, frozen sweets, which are taking up the scenario. There are people who are building up food outlets, food retail outlets, which are focusing on how they can popularize the Indian sweets. If I share with you, this is the projection for 2022 for India only, Indian chocolate and confectionery market, and how Indian sweets are taking it up. So just elaborating on how Indian sweets are different. There are nutritional ingredients, dairy-based products have high protein, pulse-based have high dietary fiber. So this is how this trend is going to take up its high market share on the global platform. So if I may address people who are even outside India, this trend is going to give an advantage to people who get into the expertise and focus on this trend and benefit from it in the new coming years. Automation is the key, as I mentioned. Standardization. Why I chose this photograph very specifically, because out of all the machinery that we have the expertise on, I like this pretty much, that even you can have jalebis happening with automated machine. So there is a lot of automation which is happening for bulk production, and manpower constraint takes, and the skill required takes a backseat if you have the automation happening. These are the changes which I foresee coming up in future. People want something new, something different. People are attracted by chocolates, donuts. So sweets market is definitely growing. They want to reduce the sugars and the fats and healthier sweets. So basically, this is the last slide, and I would like to thank you all for the presentation part here, that we at Egremontz specialize into project engineering, and Mr. Manish, who is joined by me in the presentation, heads that vertical. We give a business advisory. We help in hospitality and retail projects from scratch to the last minute of preparation of the menu and food trials. Also, we give advice on tax and regulatory systems. And you can visit us on www.egremontz.com or get in touch with us directly. So I will just stop sharing this, and so I would like to share that basically, if you see the scenario which is going to affect the food industry in the coming years is going to be how well informed the consumer is. So first and foremost, post-COVID, the food industry has to make sure that we are able to give high immunity food. The trend is going to be that diners are looking out for immunity boosting foods, as well as high level of hygiene when they are going to dine out. Secondly, there is a fair market share for people who are going to be dining at home, but looking out for the same experience. So here the meal kits, as well as the cloud kitchens, which are delivery kitchens, they will be giving you an experience, and that is an area where people can leverage the demand. Now coming back to the manufacturing business, as I said, trends will be to give new flavors, new positioning to the existing products. So I would like to say these are some of the assumptions for coming trends in the industry, and I would welcome if anybody has any inputs or any questions, they can put up the questions, and Mr. Aman can maybe share them with us so that we can give some answers.
सर टुडे सिनारियो में आजकल फ्रोजन फूड का पूरा स्कोप है, तो आजकल जो एक्सपोर्ट का बिजनेस है, इसमें टोटली एक्सपोर्ट ओरिएंटेड लोग फ्रोजन फूड में कर रहे हैं, ताकि ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा लोगों को ऑल ओवर वर्ल्ड उनको हम टेस्ट करा सकें सारी चीज़ें। इस पे ज़्यादा फोकस लोगों का होना चाहिए।
Uh, just to add upon, I think it's a big industry which is coming up. That is the export of ready to eat, ready to cook, as well as the frozen foods. India is slowly becoming a hub. Many of our clients are coming up with factories in northern India as well as south of India to provide frozen foods to lot many players in the US and the Europe market.
We are also currently working for 80 ton per day capacity plants, planning for some of the clients for exporting purpose only. So huge market is coming for export and frozen foods.
Yes, so we have few questions. So once you are done with your entire session, do let us know. We'll proceed with our questions. Shall we
Sure.
go?
Sure. We would be happy to answer, and maybe that will give us more insight into how, because I have tried to cover a lot many things, but maybe if there are any queries, that will help us to give more insight.
Yes. So here's the first question from one of the attendees from YouTube. The question is, it is a very good aspect that has been shared about the food manufacturing business. Any specific sector that you see growing faster?
Okay, as Mr. Manish just mentioned, I would say that the coming up trend is going to be a lot of packaged food, frozen foods, and giving a lot of variety at the comfort of the home. So food manufacturing business, the reason I touched upon, although it is not direct hospitality that we have, but the manufacturing industry is focusing on a lot of frozen food, ready to eat food, as well as packaging them for a higher shelf life. So these are the trends which are going to catch up. Manish, would you like to add anything apart from this?
इसमें बहुत सारी चीजें हैं जो करंट सिनेरियो में चल रही हैं अभी, और ये आने वाले टाइम का बहुत बड़ा मार्केट है फॉर फ्यूचर एक्सपेक्ट्स ऑफ ऑल ओवर द वर्ल्ड.
You are muted, Aman, I think.
Yeah. We also have one more question. As an experienced chef and as an organization which specializes in hospitality and food industry projects, how do you plan to incorporate these upcoming trends?
Okay, that's a very nice question. Well, as we are associated with different aspects of project engineering, as well as we give out projects from the designing to the operational excellence, as well as we do hand holding and support in the operational aspect, whether it is coming up with the reporting and the management information systems and all. Now coming back to how do we incorporate these trends? So this will be in the mind of many people who are operating food businesses, that how do you benefit from these current trends? So as I said, that one is food preparation part, other is how you package it and how you present it to your client and create. So for the food is industry, for the manufacturing business, as I said, we need to ride on the wave. So when we develop concepts, new concepts, we always guide the food business operators or a person who is coming up with a food business plant or a factory to focus on food which are going to be in demand, as like new products are focused on frozen foods, ready to eat food, packaged food, institutional provisions, bulk ordering, which is happening because distances have become smaller. It is very easy for a person to outsource not only processes or knowledge from India, but also people are manufacturing their food products in India and taking them abroad. Just to share an example, we have been exporting through a sister concern of ours, Indian foods. We have been exporting frozen mithai, frozen gravies to a lot of clients in US and Europe and Australia. So this is how we are introducing the nutrients and utilizing the nutrient. Now coming up to food and beverage outlets. Now the new trends which are coming up are very much useful for a person who is designing their outlet. The new outlet that we are designing, we are focusing on how the interaction levels are high. We want casual setups where the person can enjoy the food. How the menu is being presented. The menu can be very interactive also, interactive menus where people are able to engage themselves. When you are designing an outlet, how do you engage your client till the time food is arriving? How new concept of food, like an interactive element on the table, the chef going out and serving something on the table, doing a tempering at the in the front of the guest. These are the trends which have been present, but they have to be coming up in new avatar. So we try to give new dimension to how interactive food can be served. Moreover, how the offerings make a difference. Definitely, we have to keep in mind the market that we are going to serve it into, introducing new trends and new taste for from the global flavors to the people and giving them a new taste and flavor in the same menu, giving them small portions, giving them more variety. These are the aspects we try to incorporate in the new coming projects. And in the past 1 year, we have designed the operations in such a manner that the manpower, which is a constraint, skilled manpower is becoming a constraint in some of the industry. So we try to counter that by designing agronomically kitchens. So we give kitchen designs which require least of manpower, more of automation. So these are the key things that we are focusing upon.
There's one more question from our attendees. The question is, Indian sweets, as you have mentioned, is a new global trend. So
Yes.
can you share any specific indication of this?
Okay. To start with, I would say this is a global trend as well as it is catching up in India also. I would say in the past uh, 4 years, 3 or 4 years, this was a growing trend. In past 1.5 years, this has really catching up, and in future the demand is going to grow. If I share with you some specifics, uh, in the past 1 year, if I talk about only Delhi NCR or north of India, there are at least 12 to 14 new brands which have come up in this scenario, and they have big plans. So if you see the Indian trend as well as outside India also, there is a global demand for Indian sweets. And the reason is that I am saying this because as we are involved in many projects, I'll share with you one of the projects we are doing for a big bakery company in Egypt. Um, I would not hesitate to name. Mongenis is the big name in India. They are present in India. They have a similar operation in Egypt, and we are doing Indian sweets for a country like Egypt, which uh, did not have any Indian sweet, or the Indian diaspora is not very big over there. But still, there is a coming up demand that how we can incorporate Indian sweets into that market also. Because I feel slowly and slowly people are realizing uh, European and American sweets are basically sugar as or chocolate based. Here in Indian sweets, there is a variety of sweets which are very much focused on plant-based products. We have uh, different ingredients which are healthy as well as they give different textures to it. Even if I start with the basic of Indian sweets are uh, cereals, there are pulses. So even high protein is one of the key ingredient in the milk-based products, the milk-based Indian sweets. So just touching upon how Indian sweets are becoming popular, there's a big education which has gone into the reason being popularization of Indian cuisine as a whole in the global market, as well as the Indian sweets making their mark in the growing sweets and confectionery market because of their demand.
Thank you, sir, for this really insightful answers. There's one more question from one of our attendees. The question is about the keto foods available in the market. How do you look up to keto foods which are available in the market and its position in the market in future?
Sure. Keto foods definitely is also one of the trends which can be utilized, although it has been in the market for past few years. So there is a niche market for keto foods. Keto foods has not yet become a masses food. So keto food, yes, there is a certain metropolitan consumer which is eyeing keto food, because as I told you, there is going to be different diets and different global cuisines, as well as different diets which are going to come up. This keto food has definitely made a small market for itself because of the health benefits. As I said, healthier ingredients is one of the global trends which is going to be there. So keto foods will have a demand, but I feel it is a long way to go because availability as well as the education part, how people are going to take up keto diets is yet I feel that going to be another 2-3 years. I personally advocate that keto diets are healthy, but making them more present in the food and beverage industry, in the hospitality industry, in the regular mainstream, uh, it will definitely come up in the coming years.
Thanks, Mr. Aditya. Mr. Aditya, there's one question about the experiential dining which you have mentioned in your presentation.
Ji.
So the attendee wants to know more about that, as in what could be the future trend in experiential dining in India?
Okay. Specifically, if you say about India, experiential dining, I meant that how you are going to make your food and beverage outlet, your restaurant or your hotel, restaurant or a bar, how does it become different? So what is the experience? It is not going to be just food. It is going to be the way it is being presented. I would be happy to share some examples. If you see the presentation videos or some new concepts which are coming up globally also, the interaction levels are increasing. There is some interaction happening at the table. So if I want to share some examples how you can make it different for a diner in your own restaurant. So how you can give an experience which a person who is dining in your restaurant different. So I can share an example how we can make it different. For example, I am giving a dining experience in an Indian restaurant. I will take name of an Indian restaurant wherein you are dining. In past, I have done some experiential dining which was different and made people more attracted towards the restaurant. Like if suppose you are dining in a North Indian restaurant and you have a fulka trolley or a dal trolley, although it has been done in many places, happening on your table. Now, come a step forward can be, I was in discussion with Chef Vikas Khanna just 2.5 years. He has the restaurant Junoon, wherein they serve their, because we were discussing how do you make other dishes different. So a tomato soup, a tomato shorba, which is being served on the table, how do you attach an experience to it? I'll share an example. The tempering of the tomato shorba is done on your table with fresh coriander seeds as well as fresh coriander leaves and added to on the top of your soup just before it is coming to your table for consumption. The aromas make it a difference. So it can be a flambe on the table, but making a person smell the freshness of the tempering on the table makes it different. So experiential dining, I'm just giving examples, can also be uh, different ways people are served food. Experiential dining is themes. Like in buffet restaurants, there are theme buffets which are coming up. So there are themes attached. I've done a buffet in which we did a theme of a circus or a photography theme. So your props and your dishes are designed according to that. Your naming of the dishes is according to that. So it can happen on the table, it can happen on the buffet table, it can happen on the menu. How do you make your menu more experiential? With the digital era in picture, how do you make your menu interactive? If it is a digital screen menu and it is interactive, the people not only would like to see the photograph, sometimes you attach videos to the menu, and you see that people are enjoying that when they are ordering their food. If they see how it is being made, if you attach. So these are some of the experience which are going to take the dining experience to the next level. Digitization and these experiences. So experiential is not only just food. I must elaborate on that. It can be through um, experience through menu by the form of digitization. It can be a dining experience. It can be how you are reaching out. The marketing part also adds on to how the people are going to experience the dining at an outlet.
Thank you, sir, for the detailed answer on the same. With that, I believe, sir, we are done with all the questions which we had on all the platforms. Thank you for joining us. Session was indeed quite a learning experience for everyone in food industry and the new food enthusiasts. Thanks for joining. Have a nice day. Stay safe.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you.